Start a language learning journey with Duolingo. Designed by experts, Duolingo's path.
But mid lane is, as we can see on the side,
looking to inaugural
interesting picks like the Bane side of last minute. So looking at these team comps, I do like that a lot of the teams, both the teams actually do have a lot of meta picks on their side, as well as some interesting picks like the Bane on gold. I mean, on Bane on jungle. So yeah, let's get into the game.
Yeah, it's going to be very exciting here. Ladies and gentlemen, the inaugural match of NACT Fall is about to begin. It's going to be Godspeed taking on Last Minute. Both of these teams looking to make a name for themselves and to prove that they belong here at the top of the North American ladder.
Yeah, so as we can see on the side of Godspeed, they are starting the red buff with Nolan on the side of Last Minute, starting the blue. Opposite sides on the buffs, but mid lane is seemingly to do well as they are rotating next to each other on both sides.
Yeah, you can see there that Last Minute just a little bit faster on the punch, and that's kind of the value you get from a Nolan, as he's going to be able to kind of clear out those buffs a little faster, rotate around the map a little bit faster. So it's going to have to be something that Godspeed understand as they're looking for a little bit of a fight here. Lethal Wanderer is going to be going over. Oh, actually, Shiro was able to snap that up from the side of Last Minute.
Yeah, we do see Joyboj invading Last Minute's jungler, scaring him away with his first kill as he is roaming through the jungle.
Yeah, and you actually needed a little bit of a call to action there. Last Minute actually very quickly able to provide a little bit of, I want to say, protection. Blade comes down, rotates down there to help push away Joyboj. So he really can't, I mean, he's able to still get vision, but he's not able to really cause any harm to Last Minute there. And a great, I want to say, synergy and teamwork from them.
I like how Joyboj is giving a lot of vision to his team on where the enemy jungler is, but we do see the side of Last Minute, but both their mid laners and jungle are rotating, actually camping.
Yeah, Joyboj smelled it in there, and then he's able to get away 3 members of Last Minute just a little quicker on the draw was Joyboj, and that's what you get from the, I want to say, the veteran status of Joyboj, kind of sensing something was wrong right before they jumped out and able to get himself out of harm's way. That's going to go ahead, lead for this Last Minute team to go ahead, start on this turtle, a first uncontested turtle for Last Minute.
Yeah, really interesting. I really did wish to see Godspeed actually contest that turtle, but they weren't able to as the whole team was pretty behind and not close enough to the turtle to contest, but that gives Last Minute a free turtle in the process.
Yeah, and this is already, like we were talking about this for the early game of Nolan. He's going to have, I want to say, an easier time. We still need some items. Shiro kind of looking into it with that Bane, trying to kind of traverse the map around, still getting his items up. We haven't had a gank yet, so both of these teams kind of riding the wave. No kills for either team.
Yeah, I think the game is going pretty steady. Currently, it is going to 3 minutes as both the scoreboard is 0-0 and both teams are at around 7.9k gold.
Yeah, the interesting thing for me is when we take a look at some of those stats there, the gold actually in the favor of Shiro right now, even though Last Minute was able to get the turtle, and even though they've been rotating a little bit faster, Shiro's still doing a great job on the Bane pick to kind of keep his farm up, which might play a role later on in this match.
Yeah, I really do like that. Bane pick is a really unorthodox pick on the jungle lane, but he is keeping up with assassin meta currently. But as we can see, both sides are camping on opposite ends of the bushes, waiting for a team fight, possibly.
Yeah, looking for an opportunity, hoping that the other one would make a mistake and show themselves out. Both teams playing it very smart, so they are going to go ahead, have to reset back onto the map.
Yeah, honestly, I do wish there was a little more fighting in this. This is 3 minutes going in, no team fights, no nothing. But
no, you get your wish here as Joyboj face checks a bush and gets caught up. A kill going over to Sky, Last Minute's mid laner.
Wow. As I was just saying, I wish action was coming. Joybotch did die, which does give last minute a heads up and chance as they're able to push the bot side a little
Ooh,
bit.
Syrie comes in. He does have a lot of pressure onto his tower. He's going to use that blazing duet to clear out the minions. Now we have a fight here at the turtle. We do have a circling eagle landing onto KK. He decides against it. Joybotch on the backside. Oh, and the turtle gets taken. JD able to secure it for last minute. Now we are in a fight. He secures the turtle, but loses a teammate's life. KK down for the count. JD looking for an escape. Sky able to kind of hold the front line and secure that escape. So they are able to take the turtle, but they do lose a member.
Yeah, I really did. JD did an amazing job retry gapping on that turtle fight, but they did lose a teammate, which makes the gold pretty even. I wish they didn't make the mistake of going back in and possibly just coming right out of the team fight and just getting away as they got that first turtle, as they got that second turtle. But yeah.
Yeah, big pressure here onto the tower from the backside. You can see Joybotch trying to put some pressure onto Blade, and that is the value you get from a Bane. The amount of pressure and damage that he can do to towers means that if you aren't paying attention, when you blink, your tower is going to be gone. Speaking of blinking, circling eagle onto Kevy, who's going to have a little bit of trouble. Blazing duet is out, and Shiro picks up the kill there for Godspeed.
Yeah, Kevy on the Ruby, he was really far out on the map as he was alone in the jungle with no teammate in sight, and he did get caught by Godspeed, which was a careless mistake on his end, but hopefully we won't see that soon.
Ooh, Sky. Does Sky know? Maybe sensing a little bit of trouble in this bush. Doesn't want to get a little too forward. A big penalty zone lands. He is going to flicker out. We do have an ultimate that I am you. Sky stole the ultimate from Bane there, able to kind of issue it out to try to protect the tower, but it's no use. Meanwhile, up at the top, my hero going to go ahead and find a tower of his own.
Yeah, I think Godspeed is doing a great job right now as they're able to get the two first tier 3 towers, and turtle is spawning up soon. I do see they have the advantage right now as they do have 4 players on this turtle, and Joybotch and Divine are zoning the enemy out, but we will see who gets the turtle.
Ooh, we do have a deadly catch that goes out there. Shiro able to pick up the turtle. Now a fight ensues. Sky diving out of this fight. Blade might be in trouble, getting picked down and picked off by Shiro. KK in trouble too at the top. At the bottom here, Sky and JD looking for an escape. My hero is going to go ahead and use that entropy to get away.
Yeah, Godspeed had a great turtle fight as they did pick off a lot of players from last minute. I do wish that last minute did back from that turtle as they probably knew that they were not going to get that turtle and not win the fight as contested, but they still went for it anyways, and they lost a lot of lives and a lot of gold. But even though they lost that turtle fight, the score is pretty even, and the gold right now is not as bad as it seems, where both teams are, it's only a 1k difference between Godspeed and last minute.
Yeah, Godspeed is really succeeding in their plan right now, which is kind of putting it on the back of the sieging ability of Bane. And they've really been able to hold JD at a pass right now. He has no kills right now. Circling Eagle goes onto the back line. Kevy in trouble, getting bursted down. That's going to be another tower for Shiro.
Yeah, as I said from earlier, Godspeed's really great at getting the pressure on singular lanes and pushing a tower. So currently Godspeed does have 3 towers as they had gone each of the inhibs. But on the side of last minute, we do see that they are keeping up with a lot of the pressure as they do have 2 tier 3 towers and are not that far behind in gold, as I said from earlier, only 1k difference so far.
Yeah, I want to say Godspeed doing a good job kind of moving down the line, picking off tower after tower after tower, just moving from left to right there, and especially getting that mid tower, which basically opens up the entire map for your team. So it gives the side of last minute a very smaller space to be able to run away. And speaking of running away, Joybotch almost gets caught there. Penalty zone catches 2 members. Divine gets caught by a deadly catch from the IMU of a Sky, and that's going to go ahead and disengage the team and make sure to protect their teammates.
Yeah, there's not a lot of team fights going on currently as both teams are very wary of that each team fight may cost the game for them. And we do see Godspeed on the Lord right now, currently. Shiro in the pit.
Yeah, Deadly Catch goes out there. Shiro able to pick clean up the Lord. Circling Eagle onto Kevy in the back line, and Kevy is down for the count. Divine finds the final kill there with, I want to say that was the revenge strike that actually caught Kevy and actually put him down. And the added damage from Joybaj on the Matilda, able to kind of secure it. But a great job from Godspeed to not only take the Lord there, but able to reinforce their winning ways by pushing back last minute.
Yeah, Shiro was in the Lord pit, and I think that, Godspeed was the first to get the Lord, and we did not see last minute contesting that Lord, which is very surprising as their team was fully there. But as we can look at the items so far, we can see the Bane 2k gold ahead of the jungler on the side of last minute, really showing off that even though Bane is really unorthodox, he still works in this meta and he's able to keep up and actually be better than the Nolan.
Ooh, Joybaj able to he's able to go ahead and face check that bush. We do have a Deadly Catch out there, but it's gonna go ahead and push away the team, but they have no minions to be able to kind of put the pressure onto this tower. That is a difference here at the mid tower. They're trying to put the damage on the Blade, who might be in trouble here. Gets picked off with a Crab Claw Cannon from Shiro.
Ouch, that Crab Claw Cannon hurts as Shiro is able to parry off the damage and kill Blade. But as you can see on the side of Godspeed, they are pushing in on tier 2 on the top side, as they already just pushed in tier 1, possibly getting tier 2 on bot side with Claude around the area. But we do see last minute, they are stacking together as a team, not wanting to die solo, but trying to stick together as they are in a losing position so far.
Yeah, they're going to go ahead and continue on with the fight. I just want to say, man, it's such a great plan, especially with the way that Shiro is utilizing the Deadly Catch to move away last minute from these towers before they go ahead and just absolutely dominate these towers. Like we were talking about, Bane is his specialty. While you're seeing the Crab Claw Cannon and some of the damage he can do them to opponents, what he does to towers is basically tenfold. So they're just really doing a great job of utilizing him and focusing on these objectives. Oh, speaking of which, we do have a penalty zone lands onto 3 members. Might be in a little bit of trouble. Blazing Duet to back up the team of Godspeed, followed up by a Deadly Catch. We do lose one member. Kevy goes down for last minute, now separating the kills from 6 to 3 in favor of Godspeed.
Yeah, amazing step by Divine, catching 3 players from last minute, but only killing 1. But on that Trizla, even though he did get nerfed, we do see a big impact on his setting abilities and PC as he is coming in the game in 12 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I was talking about. He still received a bunch of nerfs that were actually really kind of past due, but his kit still provides so much for the team. He's able to get in there with the penalty zone. It locks down a few players into that little center of that area, and he's able to tank on with that penalty zone while the rest of the team rains down damage on their opponents.
Yeah, as we can see, Godspeed, they are stacking together. As we can see also last minute is doing the same, but clearly we know that Godspeed is in the advantage right now as they have won a few team fights and their gold lead is pretty wide, as the gold lead is, they're at 39k while last minute is at just 34k in gold. But Lord is pushing down the mid lane. Let's see what team fight is to come.
Yeah, for me right now, I'm just wondering what do you think that last minute can do here, if anything, to kind of offset what they're seeing from Godspeed?
Yeah, as we can see, the lanes are synced right now. It's a great start, but Joybaj did get swiped into the base of last minute.
Yeah, and that's kind of the problem there, is we're wasting abilities. Joybaj gets hit with a final slash into the base, but he's just able to dash over it. So you've wasted your ability now. You haven't caught any of the teammates. And I want to say good positioning by the side of Godspeed. They're going to come in here. Oh, big penalty zone onto 3 members, followed up precisely by the Deadly Catch. JD actually is able to find a kill. Shiro finds 2 kills of his own. This might be a wrap for the first match here between Godspeed. They're looking for it. Sky very low, able to find a retreat back into the base, but that's going to be a wrap, folks. Godspeed wrap up this first match with a victory.
Yeah, amazing gameplay coming from Godspeed, and last minute they were holding on to that game, but the score did come down to 9-4 with Shiro on Bane getting the MVP on the side of Godspeed.
Yeah, and I want to just say, like, it just kind of came down to whose plan was better. And I want to say Godspeed felt like they just had a more objective focus. And although they did lose 2 early turtles, that allowed Shiro to kind of roam around, get farmed up, even though at the point they had lost 2 turtles and Shiro was still up in gold over his opponents. So, I mean, that just kind of says a lot for where the team's focus was and how they implemented it here in this match.
Yeah, I'd like to agree with you. I think that at the beginning of the game, both teams were very cautious. There was no one really died at the beginning as teams were just farming and going to their lanes. But as the game did go on, there was a lot of little pickoffs from the side of Godspeed as they did pick off a lot of the players like Ruby on the side of last minute. And as you can see on the scoreboard, we can see the damage dealt. Claude with 34,000 damage on the scoreboard. A lot of damage coming in from that marksman.
Yeah, and really interesting with the stats there. You saw Joybaj had the 2nd most damage for his team. And when it came to damage dealt, I want to say last minute, it was kind of spread out. And I want to say overall, last minute had a lot of damage dealt to the enemy. It just wasn't where it should have been, apparently, which would have been a lot of those objectives there. And then we see tower damage kind of split up amongst last minute. This kind of just shows you the story of like the focus of Godspeed. They know who needs to be taken the towers. Nobody else needs to even be putting hits on it. It's all going to be going to the marksman. Sairi doing a great job. He was the only person that put the tower damage on to help out with some of those pushes.
Yeah, and as we're looking at the team fight stats, I'm not sure if these are right, but I do know that in a lot of the team fights, we see that a lot of the players, like the Bane, was in a lot of team fights. As his KD was 5-0 and 3, he was making up most of the team fight participation. He was making up most of the team fight participation, but I don't know why on the thing it says 21%, but you know, it's fine.
Yeah, I was just about to say there too, especially with a Bane on the team,
Right.
there should have been some tower damage that went over to him. You could see here, I mean, right there, just chewing up towers, which is basically his main objective in a lot of these fights here. Another big push with that ultimate to kind of clear out the team, and then another tower, which really kind of helped turn these teams around for a lot of this match.
Yeah, a lot of these instant replays, we can see that the side of Godspeed, they're able to pick off players who are just by themselves and they just go after one champion, and they just, after that, they would just keep pressuring in on the side of last minute. As in this team fight too, there was another team fight as they did win this team fight. They picked off the Ruby like earlier as they pick off the Arlock.
And that can be kind of the problem with a Ruby pick and a Nolan. Once you start getting behind, Ruby needs items to even be a force to be reckoned with right away. And then Nolan, once he falls apart from behind, he's going to have a big issue really kind of climbing back into those team fights because he's looking for pickoffs. Once you're at a point where you're behind and we've already moved past the laning phase and now we're into group team fights, Nolan's going to have a very tough time being able to squeeze in there, find somebody, and escape with nobody like CCing him down.
Yeah, I was assuming that Nolan would do a little bit better that game as he was the assassin jungler that could possibly dominate the game, but Bane actually would be the one to dominate Nolan with his octopuses and sharks and sea animals, you know? So yeah, great gameplay.
Yeah, and it's very interesting too. A good start for the side of last minute. They just couldn't hold on to it. And I want to say it's kind of a shining point for the side of Godspeed, who didn't get kind of triggered when they lost those first 2 turtle fights. One of them they didn't even contest. They just they didn't contest it. They didn't try to match it up on the other lanes to maybe take down, maybe get a gank onto the gold lane or anything. They just kind of kept farming, kept letting Bane do his thing until the time was ready for him to start pushing onto these towers, and that's where you really saw the magic of this composition come together.
Yeah, that game was really fast, as I think the game ended around 12 to 13 minutes. So I think Bane got farmed pretty fast, even when he did not contest any of the first 2 turtles. And I just think that the overall game was pretty clean for the side of Godspeed, with little hiccups in the beginning of the game, like Joybaj getting caught out on first blood on the mid side bush, as well as them not contesting, but overall in the end it did go into their favor and they were able to close out game 1 with a victory.
But that is only one game of the 4 that these teams are guaranteed to fight each other under for this series. So there is ample time for last minute to adjust, work out the kinks of their last composition, maybe the holes that they had in it, and adjust to this play style that they saw from Godspeed. But if anything is it, I want to see maybe a little bit more objective focus from last minute. I mean, we've already seen it from Godspeed. They're able to kind of let things go, especially in the early game, as long as they can keep their sights kind of honed in on those power spikes that they have.
Yeah, I do think that a lot of the points in the game is that it's better to go for towers than actually committing to a team fight and going for kills, where I think objectives like towers and turtles are more important than just getting little kills on the scoreboard. But kills do make a big part of the macro in the game, as when teams get kills, they're able to get gold from that, and they're able to just snowball from all of these early game kills from there.
Yeah, and that kind of leaves the question right now to what kind of changes would you want to see from last minute here, or maybe a different focus from last minute, as they are going to be first pick here.
Yeah, on the side of last minute, we do see a Fanny ban at the start. I don't think they banned Fanny earlier, but that's a really interesting ban, as Fanny right now is, I would say, one of the better assassin jungles. She does have a lot of she's very mechanical, and you do need a lot of skill-wise on her to play that hero, but in the end, she's very great at what she does. But on the side of Godspeed, we do see a chip ban. I did see a chip nerf earlier on the patch note, so what do you think about that ban?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what to say. I mean, we can throw out the stats of what's the ban or what the nerfs were for all of these heroes, but I've been talking a bit about how bad Terizla was hit with the nerf hammer, and we still saw that Godspeed able to use him to perfection, get those penalty zones on into the back line to really queue up a lot of the damage for Godspeed. So, I mean, the nerfs don't mean much if you have somebody who can utilize these heroes to their full potential, especially with a plan like Godspeed came with. So here we're going to see Harith taken off the board there for last minute. And one thing that was kind of interesting to me, no Roger at all, no pick, no ban. And I thought he was pretty much a premier pick for a lot of these teams.
Yeah, but as we can see on the side of last minute, I do see another Harith ban. They did ban Harith last game against Godspeed. I'm assuming that the gold laner is very good on Harith and the gold side, but there are a lot of bans still up and open, as a lot of the EXP laners like Ruby and Edith and some of the assassins like last game that they banned, like Ling and Hayabusa, and the mid laners such as Zushin and Zas, but they did get a nerf, so I'm not sure if they will get banned right now.
Yeah, and it kind of happens sometimes when something's been banned out completely for so long that maybe some people just don't even want to use it anymore, or it's not even part of a lot of people's compositions or their plans, because you pretty much assume, all right, these ones are going to be banned. We're not even going to make a plan for if we can get these guys, because there's just so much other things there on the board. Familiar faces up there, a Ling going to be taken off there for Godspeed as well. So, I mean, we're kind of looking very familiar here with a lot of these bans. I want to say the big surprise will possibly come up when we get to the actual picks for a lot of these teams.
Yeah, I think a lot of these bans are pretty textbook, as the last game as we saw, as Ling and Chip were both banned. But we do see a Matilda ban coming from the side of last minute, and we do know that Joybots just played Matilda last game, so I think that they think that the Matilda is something that should really be banned, as she's able to roam around and go invade the jungle by herself and just keep poking and hitting at their jungle, annoying him as no one's near him to help.
Well, I mean, I have to applaud this. I mean, why not take out the I want to say arguably the best player on Godspeed's best hero? Why not just take that out of the mix, ban it out there? Matilda's taken off the board, even though she did get a few nerfs to her kit. Well, I want to say a nerf to her range and a little bit of a better cooldowns, or not better cooldowns, less mana charges for what she can do out there. So take that off the board. especially with what it provides to the team. You picked up a Nolan and Matilda was on the board already, so you had an ability from the opponents to really kind of pull back and kite you back, and that's not what you want if you're an assassin, because that means you're gonna have to dive deeper into enemy lines. Your team, if you're a Nolan, might not be able to keep up with you, so you're gonna be pushing well back into the lines, and your team's still kind of caught back there as you get picked off one by one. That does leave open the Phoveus, which we had talked about earlier.
Yeah, so Phoveus, I'm really surprised he wasn't banned this game, as we do know that Phoveus's new kit is something that a lot of players do dread to see in their ranked matches. Phoveus's new kit is great, as that he doesn't need anyone on the enemy side to dash, but rather he just needs to hit his skills and his ultimate will proc, and he's able to jump on the enemy as many times as he wants until his ult goes out. But on the side of Godspeed, we do see a Hylos and a Hayabusa pickup. Hylos, I think he did get a little bit of a nerf. Again, Divine is picking up the EXP laners that did just get a big nerf on the last patch, but we will see how well he does on that horse. But as we do see, Shiro does pick up Hayabusa.
Yeah, and this kind of comes down with the adjustments that Last Minute made to their bans that left open. You have the Hayabusa now you have the Hylos out there. Both of these heroes did receive a little bit of a nerf, but I mean, we've said before, we've seen it. It doesn't really matter too much on what the nerfs were, as long as these players can play them to the top of their ceiling and the top of their potential. The one thing I want to see is how well it kind of goes into some of these objective fights. That is where Phoveus shines. That is where Hylos shines. He's going to be able to kind of push away the entire team with that glorious pathway and be able to charge into them. He is just a tank's tank when it comes to a lot of these objective fights. And what we get on the opposite side is an Aurora pickup matched with a Julian.
Yeah, on the side of we do see a Julian pick, another great assassin jungle, as rather than needing level 4, he only needs level 3 to use his skill kit fully. I think that is a great matchup against Hayabusa, as he does have an immune skill on one of his skill kits or skill combos, and that's a great pick on the jungle side. But on the side of Godspeed, we do see a tank pick. So they did pick up a tank and EXP and jungle on the first 3 picks.
And that's kind of a hats off for Godspeed, because you kind of baited them in with that Hylos. You don't really know where he's going to go. He does very well as a roam, but in the XP he does great as well. The Tigreal pickup, that means you're going to have a ton of CC, a ton of front line. That's going to give the opportunity for Shiro on this Hayabusa to kind of I want to say view the battlefield, see where everybody is, and he can take his time before going in there, because you know that the connection between Hylos and Tigreal are going to be able to hold that line, hold those objectives for him.
Yeah, honestly, seeing Hylos and Tigreal as their frontliners, a very annoying combo to go against as team fights progress, as Hylos is able to just charge in with his ult, as Tigreal can just set up a straight 4-man ult with his ultimate. So honestly, those are really interesting tank picks. But we do see on the side of Godspeed, they do have a carry ban for the side of Last Minute. Carry is really interesting, as I think the carry ban was for their tankier heroes like the Hylos and Tigreal to be able to shoot them down with her true damage instead of just a normal marksman.
Yeah, I couldn't have put it better myself. That is exactly why you take out the carry when you have this tanky of a front line. We're more focused. I want to say there's a lot. The big thing that's going to come to play here is Blade and JD. There's a lot of burst potential from Last Minute. You do have a little bit of CC there coming from Sky on this Aurora, but like right from the get-go, I want to say that the Julian pick and the Phoveus first objective is going to be a very hard contest for Godspeed, unless they let it go like they did last time and just continue to kind of farm up. I want to say Hayabusa needs a few items. He's not exactly one of those like get right into the fight right away. He's going to need to get those pickoffs. He's going to need to isolate some heroes. He's going to need to kind of get his farm up before he actually becomes like this menace assassin that we usually see into the mid and late games.
Yeah, we do see on the side of Godspeed, they do ban out the Lolita. I do see on the patch note, she did get a little bit of a nerf or an adjustment, but still a viable roamer that they would ban it from the side of Last Minute. but I do also see the Vexana ban for the side, as I think Godspeed actually just played the Vexana last game, and I think Vexana is a great ban as she does a really good pairing or combo with Tigreal, as their CC is just very long and it's something that last minute does not want to look for.
Yeah, and still up on the field right now, we still have the Valentina, still have the Claude pickup, which we showed from Godspeed did an amazing job with from the last game. So they're gonna go stick with last minute goes with the Faramis ban. I want to say this was banned out by Godspeed last time, so they're gonna keep it off the table here for this next matchup. But with that, we have no more bans left. It is time for these two teams to pick out their last two heroes.
Yeah, honestly, I'm really excited to see what they would pick out for the side of for the mid lane, as the last minute did just prioritize mage bans on their last two bans. So Vexana and Faramis. There's not a lot of mages left that are currently meta. I mean, maybe Valentina. They could pick up another Valentina, or possibly pick up Zushin or Zas and one of the nerfed heroes and see how they do in the mid lane. Yeah.
Yeah, apparently I want to say maybe those nerfs kind of have shied away both teams from what they want from some of these pickups. There is the Moskov pick. He was banned out the first time, so I kind of forgot about him, but a priority pick, no doubt. Sairi gonna go ahead and scoop that up. That's gonna give them a lot of presence around the map. That's gonna give them the split pushing power, and I want to say a lot of damage leading them into the mid and late game.
Yeah, I would obviously agree with you more. Moskov was banned last game, and Godspeed is able to pick it up now this game. Moskov, very similar to Galing, able to go around opposite side of the map and just do whatever he wants, you know, and then just drop down a Spear of Destruction down the river, down the mid side, anywhere he wants, and just, you know, teleport if he hits. But on the side of last minute, we do see a Claude pick coming up from a hero, as well as the Minnow pick for the Roam. I do like Minnow, as I am pretty sure Minnow does well against the Tigreal on Roam. He's able to counter, as Tig sets, he's able to counter set with his Minoan Fury. And Claude, another great gold lane pick. But I guess for Claude, he does need time to scale, as he does need his items like Golden Staff and all the other marksmans.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's kind of a slave to the Trinity pickup for most marksmen. I want to say him, Moskov, a lot of the marksmen kind of go with the same route when it comes to the damage that they want to output out there. I want to say that the Minotaur has kind of fallen off a little bit when it comes to a lot of picks. He used to be a big priority. They did, I want to say, reduce a lot of his defense that he has, so it is a little bit harder for him to kind of stay in there through that Minoan Fury if the enemy is kind of like putting down an immense amount of damage. But hey, maybe a little pick that is near and dear to your heart. We have the Nana pickup from Godspeed.
Yeah, honestly, really interesting to see Nana picks, as I think I was the only person who played Nana last season. She's a really fun mage, as she does have really great CC abilities and damage with her ultimate of Molina Blitz. So I'm really excited to see how well that does against the team comp of last minute.
Yeah, and this is kind of an interesting thing. I want to say a composition that kind of melds together there. You're going to have the mix of the Implosion, the Molina Blitz coming out there, as well as the Hylos being able to kind of tank up that front line. But ladies and gentlemen, it all comes down to this game 2, Godspeed taking on Last Minute, who is looking to avenge their first game loss.
Yeah, as we can see on the side of Last Minute and Godspeed, they do both start up their blue buffs, as as the side of Last Minute is getting more help than Shiro on the blue buff, but we still see both.
And this automatically, I mean, they get a little bit of help there just to kind of even out how fast these junglers are going to be able to rotate around the map very quickly here to make sure that the ganks kind of come at the same time. Both teams are expecting the same thing at the same time when it comes to those side lanes.
Yeah, but we do see on both sides, they are contesting the scuttle, and Shiro does grab that scuttle and go back into his jungle and keep hitting jungle. But on the side of Last Minute, we do see that the Julian is invading the Hayabusa's buff. quietly as no one really notices him down top.
Yeah, and he's doing exactly what they should do, is to go ahead and start refusing a jungle from the enemy. But just like that, you can see up at the top, Joybox doing a good job checking around behind there, and that's going to go ahead and open up an opportunity for Shiro to do the same thing, return it in kind to Godspeed. Both teams very careful. No ganks this early just yet.
Yeah, I think like last game, both teams are gonna play it slow and they're gonna watch out to team fight early. Maybe say JD.
JD thought he was in the shadows, but they knew better. We do have a shadow kill going out there as well, trying to put the damage on. It finds a kill onto JD, and a well-placed kill, which means that the side of last minute is not going to have their retribution for this first turtle.
Yeah, I find that JD did make a really big mistake just trying to fight them before the Lord is up, giving Shiro the first free turtle. But I think that next time, I think the team should probably stick together, and he should probably have the roamer actually face check instead of himself using his skills and just dying right after that.
Yeah, and you can see here right now already, Joybox, comes in with an implosion. Glorious Pathway is out as well, and JD gets put to sleep trying to get into his orange buff. Blade coming in with the Mnemonic Fury. It's not going to be enough. He's trying to take down Shiro. Actually takes a whole lot of damage. Passive activated, but Shiro still takes down Sky before being taken down himself by Blade.
Yeah, again, JD, he did just face check his red buff, as he probably didn't know that the whole team was waiting for him on his red buff, but I think the minnow should be sticking with him more in his jungle, as he currently is 0-2 and not looking so hot in the first 3 minutes of the game.
Yeah, right now Godspeed doing a great job of just continuing on the pressure no matter what. Automatically, right after the first turtle fight, they immediately run for the enemy's orange buff to go ahead and surprise him when he tries to get his buff. So great job by Godspeed here, and we're going to see if maybe last minute can kind of add it back up together, keep their wits about them, and move on with the game as we move just past the third minute.
Yeah, the game isn't looking too great for last minute, but they still do have a chance, as the gold isn't that far behind. They're not far behind from last Godspeed, as it's only a 1k gold difference. But Minnow is getting picked off by Shiro on the Hayabusa. I'm not sure what he was doing alone in the river again, but he did just get picked off, and his team was not near him to back him up.
Yeah, and this is the unfortunate things when it comes to kind of matching up roams. You have Kevy taking on, I want to say, the veteran ability that comes from Joybaj there, and that comes with knowing where you can get vision, when you won't be caught, and where your team is at all times, for them to be able to kind of help you out if you do get caught. Speaking of which, Kevy looking to try to get some vision on here, and he's taking a lot of damage put in between the entire team. Shiro gets the turtle there, and Kevy looking for an opportunity is not able to find it. That is another kill in the pocket of Shiro on this Hayabusa.
Yeah, I just like how on the side of Godspeed, they're doing really well in the early game right now. They are getting all the turtles, objectives, and on bot side, we do see Sire is pushing the bot side as their gold laner is on top. So the teams did just switch on rotations, so it gives them a little bit of an advantage. But I think currently right now, we can see it's like similar to last game. We can see Godspeed is dominating a little bit more, but last minute does have a chance in the game, as they should have the quad farm up and get his core items before they actually start team fights.
Yeah, and right now we are waiting to see how well that last minute can kind of add back up here. We're just past the 5-minute mark. Shiro with a commanding 4 kills on this Hayabusa, and as an assassin, this is exactly what you want. Glorious Pathway is out. It's going to clear out the bit of last minute while Sairi tries to put some damage onto this turret. Minions now coming in. Joybaj looking for an opportunity. They might have them sandwiched here. You see Shiro comes in with the quad shadows, gonna go ahead, bounce himself back out, and last minute just narrowly able to save that mid tower.
Yeah, they're doing really well on their macro, as they're able to push, Godspeed is able to push down the tier 3 towers on the sides first, just like last game. They focus more on towers than team fights, and this really just shows how objective based that team is.
Yeah, we do have a shadow kill. Oh, we did proc the passive of Sky on that Aurora. You see that Syri actually tried to come in there. Tried to come in there for the steal to try to get that kill. Is not able to secure it. We do have a pushback and a pop-up. JD goes down, picked off again. And unfortunately, I want to say Kevy out of position to be able to protect him.
Yeah, we can see that currently right now the game is in the favor. It's actually a pretty big gold lead with 5k on the side of Godspeed at just 6 minutes in the game, but there is the third turtle coming up. I do think that last minute might not contest this as they are pretty behind, and as they should not, since they'll probably lose a team fight if they do go in that turtle pit, but turtle does go to Shiro.
Yeah, right now it's getting to a point of them just doing it by the book is Godspeed. They're able to kind of push back, get the towers, open up the map, then they push back last minute, open up another objective. This time it was the turtle, but it's all textbook maneuvering here for them as we take a look at some of these items.
Yeah, so let's look at the items right now. Currently, we do see the side of Godspeed, all the lanes are pretty up in on the gold. So as you can see on jungle, the jungle is up by around almost 2k gold compared to JDZ. As we can see in Hylos, he's also up on the side of Phobius, as he's also around, not that far up, 600 gold up from the side of last minute.
Yeah, and for me, the problem there is that you have Hayabusa with 2 damage items. You saw Sky Piercer there and the Hunter Strike. And for JD, on the opposite side, he has 1 item, and it's not even a damage item. It's to protect him with those with the Blood Wings there. So, I mean, I'm not sure how well that's really helping out JD right now. You really kind of losing a lot of burst potential with that pick there. So we're going to see how well Julian kind of adds up as we move on. 8 minutes on the game and just about a 5k gold lead in favor of Godspeed.
Yeah, 8 minutes up on the map. We do see the quad. He did just get his golden staff, so possibly might be coming in on his second core item. But we do see Blade. It's getting run down.
Yeah, the demonic force is trying, but it's not going to be enough for 3 members of Godspeed who had him surrounded. And I mean, I want to say Godspeed doing a great job of being able to kind of hold the Phobius at bay, taking down Blade, and they are just surgical when it comes to taking down these towers from left to right, moving across the map, one after another. You're seeing these objectives fall in favor of Godspeed.
I do see a lot of the mistakes on last minute side are similar to last games, as a lot of the players, like their Roamer and EXP, they are like positioned very far out, so it does make them get caught. But this game, it also includes the jungler Julian also getting caught out, putting him at a position of 0-3 on the KDA. But on the side of Godspeed, we do see that they just got the first lord of the game.
Another kill there. Kevy gets caught in the bushes. The entirety of Godspeed was there. A big push from Joyboz separates him even further from his team, and they go ahead and clean it up with an orange buff to spare.
Yeah, well, honestly, on the side of last minute, I do see they do have potential to defend currently, but it's just that each of the players should not be too far out, and they should stick together as a team for the upcoming team fight to be able to win against Godspeed.
Yeah, you can see right now there's a big focus onto the mid lane. Meanwhile, you do have the split pushing priority there from Syri, able to go ahead and take down the tier 2 tower at the bottom lane. Now we are almost left. We have the mid tower crashing here as well. We are almost left only 2 inhibitor towers. High grounds are just left. Kevy in trouble again, gets caught. Syri picks up the kill, but JD able to find a kill onto Shiro. He might be paying for it though, able to get out of the way of that push, and an implosion. You can see Blade. Oh, they're gonna let Divine get away. Nothing hurts the ego more than watching an opponent walk away with that tiny bit of health.
Yeah, honestly, great defense on the side of last minute, only losing 1 hit inhib and getting 1 death, but they did get Shiro on the side of Godspeed, the Hayabusa, the jungler, and they're barely holding on with just 2 inhib towers and a dream of possibly coming back on this game.
Yeah, we take a look at these items here. Again, you can see a 3k gold lead for Shiro alone over the enemy jungler JD. And that just kind of tells you where this game is going. Not only, I want to say, a 6k gold lead for the team overall, but all the, I want to say, a wealth of that gold going over to the side of Shiro on that Hayabusa. Fight is coming here now. Divine looking for an escape. He is able to kind of protect the team there. Just look at how far ahead Divine is from his team because of how tanky Hylos is.
Yeah, just like last game, Divine is picking a lot of the EXP laners that did just get a nerf, but no matter the nerf, it just depends on how well you play a certain champion, and Divine is doing really well on the Hylos, as well as last game, picking up the Trizla and doing really well on setting.
Yeah, and you can see there, Divine actually gets bursted down to about 50% health. He's just doing his job to kind of ward away the rest of last minute while Godspeed is able to continually clear out their jungle. And right here, you're basically starving out last minute.
Yeah, they are starting at last minute. They are clearing, but also currently right now they are pressuring the lanes as the Lord is just coming up. Last minute, they are all grouped up together on the mid lane, wondering if they will try and contest that Lord or just give it up and try and defend one more time.
Yeah, I mean, you're almost 10k, you're about 8k gold behind here. There's not really much contention you can do unless you're able to kind of find a pick off onto Godspeed. But they're rounding these lanes here so well, especially here in the jungle. You see, look at this double tank here, front line, while Shiro just very calmly goes ahead, picks up that purple buff. Look at all these recalls out there right now, and those are on sale now in the Mobile Legends shop. But a ton of the new recalls over there, and unfortunately for last minute, not much else that they can do to kind of offset their opponents.
Yeah, we do see the Lord pushing up on top side. For last minute, I do see them defending this, as this is just coming out 13 minutes for the Lord. But I think they should actually let Godspeed try and engage on them under tower and possibly turn back the game by having Godspeed engage on them rather than themselves and not getting picked off far too out in the map like they had done earlier.
Oh, we do have a glorious pathway out there. They're trying to push away last minute from this mid-high ground tower. Meanwhile, the Lord is crashing up at the top. That's going to go ahead and split up some priority. Flicker into an implosion. Does find a kill. 2 kills down now. Sky and Kebby are down for the count. Lord still swinging away at the core. This is going to be a wrap, potentially. I think it tricked us all out. Oh, there it is. Finally, the game-winning blow there. Godspeed collect up their second victory of the night.
Right. Congrats to Godspeed. I don't know. They're showing player cams for last minute, possibly seeing how bummed they are at the loss. But we do see Godspeed getting a win of KDA of 13-4. Last minute, only getting 4 kills. I think it was a pretty good game. Like last game, the game went by really fast. Godspeed did just end the game in around 13 minutes or so, and it was a pretty picture perfect gameplay from their side, you think?
Yeah, and especially because I want to say they even, when we were talking about last minute, perhaps like kind of closing up some of the gaps they had in their strategy, it seems like even as well as Godspeed did in the last game, they still kind of closed up some of the holes that they noticed, especially at the beginning in the early game. This time, they didn't allow last minute to get those first few turtles at all. Right from the get-go, they went ahead, they made sure that they had that front line, able to push them away, collect up the turtles very easily as we take a look at some of the rest of the stats here.
Yeah, as you can see, for the damage dealt right now, we do see on the side of Godspeed Shiro with a 29k damage on the Hayabusa. I think really good damage coming from the jungler side, but actually, I don't think these stats are right, as it does say that Minnow does have 34k damage dealt, but
Minnow coming up crazy there with 39,000 damage. There might be a little bit of a mistake with the stats, but we'll just move along here with what we were talking about before. Just I want to say this front line, as you can see with the damage taken, the front line here is Tigreal, Hylos there, just provided so much, I want to say, tankiness and defense there for Shiro to just, I want to say, very calmly, as a Hayabusa, they were standing in front. He gets some of the buffs. He's able to kind of clean up there. So, I mean, a great job there by Godspeed.
Yeah, I think Godspeed, like last game, they were doing really well as they're able to focus on a lot of objectives at the start of the game. They did get some pretty good early game kills, and they also were really aggressive on invading JDZ, pressuring him on his red buff and jungle and not allowing him to actually jungle.
Yeah, and I want to say that the problems that we were talking about that I brought up earlier with the Minoan with the Minotaur pick is that he is a little bit squishier now. So he had a lot of problems. Kevy had a lot of problems trying to initiate a lot of these fights. His team wasn't in a position at one point, and then for point two is that he kind of I want to say went a little bit too far with some of these, got picked off and bursted down so quickly that his team wasn't even able to react.
Yeah, like last game, I think Kevy, he did get picked off a lot on the Minnow, like on Ruby the game before. He was really far out compared to the rest of his team, which gave, I think, Godspeed a bigger advantage or a high advantage in actually coming into the game and just snowballing into 13-minute end on the game.
Yeah, so it's going to be a really amazing job here from Godspeed. We thought that they couldn't get any better than they did from the last game, but this next one, they absolutely closed up a lot of the issues they saw with their last gameplay and improved. And that's going to be some worrying words for last minute, because they have a lot to kind of catch up to for these next two games if they want to try to take this to a game 5 or even take it to even games.
Yeah, honestly, I think that Godspeed's doing a great job right now, getting a victory or ahead of last minute with a 2-0 on the scoreboard. I really do want to see last minute possibly winning at least one game and showing off that they are worthy of being on top 8, but that might not be if they keep playing like this for the next 2 games.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what they do. The drafts aren't terrible. It just seems like, I want to say the versatility is another thing to bring up for Godspeed right now. Is the first one, when you had the Bane pick up there, they knew exactly what they needed to do with that composition. They weren't kill hungry. They weren't looking for ganks. They were just looking to push back the enemy and take towers, because that's where Bane shines. The next time, now that they had the Hayabusa up there, they were looking to kind of get those isolation, have that tanky front, give Shiro the most amount of time that you can, the vision where the squishies are, so Shiro could get in, get those kills, and then get the objectives after.
Yeah, I think the gameplay was really well going from the start to the end, and like a lot of heroes, I think Shiro was doing really well on the jungle first game and on the second game. He did his job. He jungled, he cleared, he went after the objectives, and I think that the gold laner also did really well on just split pushing, clearing the sides, just clearing their lanes and just jumping into the team fight on the side of Godspeed.
Yeah, and it's an amazing game played by them. We're going to see, I mean, Godspeed really trying to emphasize that they belong here up at the top 8 of North America. So it's going to be very interesting to see how these games continue. Like we said, ladies and gentlemen, this is a best of 4. I know it can be a little confusing. It means that we are guaranteed 4 matches, even if Godspeed wins all of them, or if last minute can kind of round up the strength to get 2 victories of their own. We are guaranteed those 4 matches. If last minute does get those last 2 matches, if they are able to kind of return the favor and come back, we will be looking at a bonus 5th match.
Exciting to see a bonus 5th match, but I think at this pace right now, we may not see one at how last minute is doing, but hopefully they'll show up last minute and try and get back their points.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. I'm excited. It's interesting to see that the meta really hasn't changed too much, except for apparently the mages. Zuxin and Zask have apparently just completely disappeared from the meta right now. No picks, no bans from either of those picks right now. But all the rest of them, we've seen the Hylos picked out there. We've seen Terizla taken out there. Hayabusa had some nerfs, but still as lethal as ever.
Yeah, honestly, I'm hoping for a Roger to get picked up. Even though he did get nerfed, hopefully we will see a Roger coming into this game, or possibly one of the mages that did get nerfed, to see how well it pairs against this new meta.
Yeah, it's very interesting. We're starting off things very typically here. Godspeed back at the first pick here. First ban going to be going over to the Edith, and I'm wondering, are we going to be banning out the Fanny like we did last game? Which is very interesting. Last minute, they didn't ban it in the first game, but banned it out the second game, and that left open some picks for the side of Godspeed as well.
Yeah, but on the side of last minute, we do see another Chip ban. So I think Chip, even though I think he was in the patch note, he is still getting banned out, as he's very good at just rotating around the map and just teleporting and just bringing the whole team through with his ultimate. A really annoying champion with all his CC kit and his teleporting kit.
Yeah, I want to say the biggest change for Kit is those beacons that he leaves around the map where he can kind of transfer between them. The cooldown went from like 20 seconds to 60 seconds. I mean, that's kind of a huge deal when it comes to the amount of time that he can kind of put out there. It's interesting to see how some of these bans kind of come out there. Hayabusa taken off there from the side of Godspeed, which is interesting because they were the ones who used it. Maybe they have some different plans here on the red side.
Yeah, honestly, they did just use Hayabusa on their team, but they banning out on the side of last minute, as last minute does have the first. I think they have the first pick, but last minute does ban out the Matilda again, as you can see for Joy Bodge on the roam. They did not like seeing Matilda first game, so they're gonna just start banning it out the second and third game just because of Joy Bodge that plays really well on that hero.
Yeah, right now we still have the Hylos out in the field. Phoveus is still out there. The priority for last minute, regardless of where you go with the bans or what you're going to be adjusting, I definitely still agree with the Matilda ban out there because of how well Joy Bodge can really perform. And we have seen yet that there just really isn't an answer on the side of last minute right now. Kevy, ZMJ, KK's having some issues when it comes to kind of getting that positioning well and doing it at the opportune moment when his team is within range to actually help him if he does get kind of check into a bush that the entire enemy is kind of sitting in.
Yeah, I would like to give you more. I think that on the side of last minute, they should not have their roam run around by themselves. But we do see the Hylos ban again, as I think Godspeed, they just played these heroes, but they are banning it out just to be wary and in case that last minute doesn't pick it up for the first pick, which is, I think, pretty understandable. And we do see a Ling ban coming out on the side of last minute. We didn't see that for the second match, I think, but they did ban it on third match and the first match. I think Ling is a very great jungle, just like Moz Club. He can run around the map, take towers, clear lanes, just go back to the other side. If there's a team fight, he can just, jump on walls and just go anywhere he wants.
Yeah, right now we still do have the Phoveus is out there. Moskov didn't get banned this time. Those were big, I want to say big picks. It didn't really help out last minute. Phoveus really wasn't allowed to shine just because of, I want to say, the ability from Godspeed to kind of enforce their will during a lot of these objective fights. And they were able to kind of start off a lot of these objectives with kills of their own, and that already puts you on the back foot. You can see here, they're going to go ahead and scoop up that Phoveus pick, which is kind of, I want to say, one of the favorites of mine in this current meta.
Yeah, Phoveus, again, they do, okay, Godspeed was first pick, but they do get that Phoveus pick again. I really like the Phoveus pick on the first part. I think that his new kit is really great. I haven't played Phoveus, actually. I think I have seen Phoveus on mid before, but he is getting used a lot on EXP side, and just overall the kit, the sustainability on him, the damage is just overall great. But on the side of last minute, we do see a Nolan picked up again by their jungler. They did pick up Nolan the first game against Spain and Yuzong. I think the Nolan didn't do as well on the first match, but hopefully we'll see how he does, as he is the assassin jungler this game. But we do see a Yuzong. I think Yuzong's really interesting. I haven't seen him as much in the meta, as there are a lot of way better EXP laners, but Yuzong overall is great for engages, as he does have his ultimate, his dragon. He can just jump down and petrify teams and do a whole CC chain,
Yeah, Nolan had issues for last minute in the first game, mostly because I want to say almost feels like Last Minute is anticipating Godspeed to make some mistakes, leave a player out. Godspeed is super tight with their rotations. They're very good about knowing if they don't see the enemy on the mini map, they're going to back off. They're not going to be as front forwarding. And it doesn't allow, I want to say, it didn't allow the side of Last Minute to really get those kills that you.
Oh, sorry. Well, Prime did just disconnect, but as we can see on the side of Godspeed, the Fanny pick is really interesting. I do know that Shiro is a really good assassin jungler, and seeing the Fanny come out this game as Fanny was banned in, I think, the last game is really going to be really interesting. The mechanics that Fanny has, it's something that a lot of players probably do not have. Like me, I cannot play Fanny personally. I am a mage player. But if you can play Fanny really well, I think that would be a really good part or pick in a team. So on the side of Last Minute, we do see a Ruby pick. So really interesting. I think this Ruby may be on... It's very versatile, as Ruby could go on the Roamer, the mid side, or it can also go on the gold lane, actually. I think the meta right now for gold laners, there's a lot of duo EXPs on in teams right now. So Ruby could be put on both sides, as they did have a Yuzong, so I don't think Ruby would go on the EXP side. Really interesting draft right now. I really like the Ruby. She does counter the Fanny, actually, on the side of Godspeed. With her CC chain, her second skill, and her ultimate, she is able to just hit her buttons as Fanny comes in and just chain her around. But as we can see on the side of Last Minute, there is a Moskov ban. I think they did ban this as last game. Sire on Moskov did really well at splitting. They also banned it the second game. No, the first game, I think. But a great ban for Sire, as he's probably one of his stronger suits is the Moskov on
Hello,
gold
guys.
lane. Hi, Liz.
I'm here. I'm the new private dancer of the series. Like you mentioned, there
Welcome.
are Yuzong and Ruby. What do you think is going to play into that?
Yeah, honestly, that's a really good... I honestly, earlier, I was talking about how great that combo is. I think Ruby, I'm not sure what lane she's going in, but they do have really good sustainability on the line. And on the side of Godspeed, we do see they do have a Faramis getting banned out. I think they banned Faramis on the first game too, possibly to not have them have a second life in the game. So yeah, that's a really interesting ban.
Yeah, for sure. And on the side of Godspeed, what do you think they're gonna ban next?
Godspeed? Well, I'm not really sure. Honestly, on the side of Last Minute, they did have just 2 marksman bans. So I think on Godspeed's side, they may do a double mage ban just to like get their mid laner out of their comfort zone, as Last Minute had done for their gold laner. There's a lot of mages that are up right now. I think like Valentina's a great mage right now. A lot of the nerfed mages that aren't getting picked out possibly, could be getting banned. We're not really sure. But yeah, what do you think, Liz? What's your favorite mage,
The question
currently?
is right now is will the last patch really affect Zas being played in the mid lane? So it looks like they're banning Tigreal. We did see Joybotch play the Tigreal last game, but it is a very strong, I would say, tank right now in this role. But the question is right now for the side of Last Minute, which mage lane they would go. There are a lot of options, like you mentioned, and right now, I still think Zask is a viable pick.
Yeah, I think Zask is also a really good viable pick. I really like Zask, but I think in these teams so far, they don't think Zask is a viable pick, as they're not really picking him. But I think it's really interesting they banned Tigreal, as I think Godspeed are banning a lot of the heroes they literally just played last game, so that Last Minute doesn't get these picks. So that's really interesting coming from them, but...
Yeah, and I guess Godspeed thinks that is the meta, but we are going to see a Lunox getting picked in the mid lane. They do have a Fanny on the side of Godspeed, so maybe the Lunox, it has more sustain and against the Fanny.
Yeah, I think that Lunox is a good mid lane pick, as I think a lot of the mid laners do get countered by that Fanny on the jungle. She's able to just come cable in, just go after any of the mid laners and just one-shot them, but Lunox does have an ultimate that makes her immune to this, so she does get a second chance.
Wow, Chow. I haven't seen the Chow in a while, but we're gonna see Joybotch on the Chow. Joybotch used to be a really good Chow player, if I'm correct.
Yeah, Joybotch actually, I think he was one of the best or better Chow players or best Chow players in NA. I think he did pick up Chow a few times in tournament, which is something that's really interesting to see today as his Chow is just coming back on the team as the roamer. Yeah, go on, Liz.
Yeah, and it looks like Private Dancer just danced himself back into the Discord. So, guys, I will be seeing you guys in a while.
Goodbye, Liz. I'm so sad to see you gone.
Oh man, so it's kind of it's what we do for these new casters that come on here, kind of give you a little bit of a freak out there. But yeah, I'm back. I'm sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that, Sayori. A little bit of a panic mode, I'll bet. But jumping right back into this draft here, we can see, I want to say, a nice little stacked side for the side of Godspeed and Cho, which we have seen out here a little bit. I want to say it's been a very flashy pick, and I'm actually kind of glad to see him kind of eking his way back into the meta.
Yeah, I wouldn't agree with you more, and especially Joybotch on that Chow, something really interesting, something we would like to see. But they, on the side of last minute, they do pick up the Nolan again. I think third time's the charm on Nolan, as this is their third game or second game they pick up the Nolan. Yeah, so that's gonna be really interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see if they can kind of have a better control of this composition. They're going to be looking for ganks. They're going to be looking for that early, and maybe a little bit of help on the side for those early, I want to say those early buffs that you want to kind of help Nolan out. I know he already clears very fast, but you want to make sure to kind of add to that. Maybe make it a surprise for how fast he can get to these side lanes, and maybe even put a surprise onto the gold lane, onto the XP lane, with how quickly he can get there and possibly get a gank. But ladies and gentlemen, we are starting into game number 3 between Godspeed and the last minute.
Yeah, on the side of, as we can see, Godspeed and last minute, they both are starting their blue buffs again. Fanny is... Actually, no. On the side of Godspeed, they are invading Joybotch again on the Chow. Just like the first game of Matilda, he is trying to bully their jungler.
Yeah, and just like that, he's going to go immediately move down to the bottom to the XP lane. Blade might be in a little bit of troubles. That is something that you really get. Oh no, he's coming up from the back. Joybotch going to go ahead and land a pop-up onto Blade. He's surrounded. This might be all she wrote. He is going to use that Petrify and just narrowly gets away.
Wow, I really thought Blade was going to go down there with him getting tanked by Joybotch, but he does live with 1 HP, which is great for him that he doesn't falter on the XP and he hasn't died. So still, he's in a position to win his lane against Divine, but we do see Shaw on bot side possibly try to cable in, maybe? No, running away. It's okay.
Yeah, he thinks twice about it. But and this is something I was going to bring up too. When it comes to the Yuzong picks, that early game is a really... Oh, actually, speaking of which, Sky tries to use the flicker, but gets hemmed down. Shiro going to pick up that first kill for the team.
Yeah, honestly, I was thinking Sky would be I mean, Lunax is a really good pick against Fanny, but right now she does not have level 4, so she cannot really immune Fanny coming down mid lane and just decimating her with her cables.
Yeah, speaking of decimation, Blade brought down and bursted into oblivion. That's going to be 2 kills for the side of Godspeed. And actually, look at that, Nolan actually getting invaded by Joybotch here, trying to kind of keep that pressure onto the enemy jungler. He's just keeping the vision up here, not too worried about anybody else on the team. And that's going to go ahead and give enough space for Godspeed to pick up this turtle uncontested.
Yeah, both Lunax and Yuzong stuff were pretty crucial in the fact that they did die just before the turtle. And because of that, it allowed Shiro to freely go on the turtle and the side of Godspeed to get their first turtle.
Yeah, and this is going to be a 2-0 game so far, just under a 1K gold lead for Godspeed. So I want to say they're being very passive when it comes to trying to get these kills. If it's not going to result in an objective, they're not really going crazy for it. And this is basically what we've come to expect from a team like Godspeed.
Yeah, honestly, Godspeed doing really well early game, just like last game. getting the first objectives and just getting the first objectives as well as a little bit of kills. But Joybot coming in.
Yeah, that Jeet Kune Do comes in, gets the pop-up and the way of the dragon. Here comes, speaking of dragons, here comes a black dragon coming out from the side of last minute to try to push out the rest of Godspeed. It's not going to really have too much of an effect, and I want to say it's almost used in a defensive manner here as they're going to go ahead and return to their side lanes.
Yeah, even though Blade had to use he had to survive, he also used his ultimate, which I know that dragon cooldown is really long, so he might not have that up for the next turtle fight, but hopefully he has it up and we'll see what he does with that.
Yeah, one of the big things here is going to be, I want to say, the lack of maybe tower pushing ability. If we're able to shut down JD on this Nolan, we don't actually have a marksman on the side of last minute here, as I'm noticing. We do have that Ruby in the gold lane, which is going to be kind of a problem when it comes to like maybe some of that tower pushing ability if JD is continually shut down. Speaking of which, Joybot comes in here, finds a way of the dragon out there. A big pop-up, and Shiro comes in with the cutthroat to seal the deal. It is now 3-0 in favor of Godspeed.
Yeah, I think honestly Joybot has a really big impact this game with the way of the dragon fear kick. He's able to pick off certain champions on the enemy side, and as we said, he picked off Kaja, and even though Kaja's a tank, they're still able to kill him, and that gives the opportunity for Godspeed to get another free turtle as they're not uncontested.
Look at Joybot just showing that veteran tendencies that he does have on that roam position. Ooh, Big Arm offended with the flicker. Syri still able to ward off the hero. Divine Echo looking. We do have a Divine Judgment on to Divine. Is he going to be able to seal the deal here? Looking for an escape, getting bursted down. Sky flickers in there, has the brilliance out, and might be all she wrote. Dove a little too far under enemy territory. Speaking of which, Way of the Dragon does land onto JD, and the mage able to pick up the kill.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why JD went back in on that team fight. His mid laner did just die and his whole team did just disengage, but he did go in and unfortunately sees death on the other side of the pillar. But as you can see on the side of Godspeed, they are clearly invading blue for the jungler, as jungler did just die and they said, ooh, a free blue buff, let me go get this real quick, and just back out.
And they're gonna go ahead and scoop that up there. Just look at the presence around the map here by Godspeed. Two in the front, one in the rear here for Blade. He's gonna go ahead and go home very quickly there. Sky gonna go ahead into this bush. I was actually very worried there. Joybot very quickly disengages.
Yeah, we can see that Godspeed this game actually has a lot more map presence in the early game. At 6 minutes, just like last game, they are pretty ahead in gold and kills. But Joybot with the way of the dragon kick, he does pick up the Kaja yet again, as Kaja is by himself in the jungle, not sure why. But yeah,
and this has been the big matchup that we were kind of talking about when it comes to both of these roams, where one is having an issue trying to get a lot of these engages where the team is around. You can see that Joybot just always around the team. Every single time he lands a Way of the Dragon, the rest of the team is so quick to be able to be there, collapse down on it, and get a kill out of it.
Yeah, honestly, great synergy on the team of Godspeed. Third turtle coming up right here. We do see that last minute is kind of closing in as they do have their players surrounding the turtle. So I think that this turtle fight will be pretty even. But Kaja is getting kicked again.
Yeah, he gets kicked again, and it doesn't look like the rest of the team was ready to kind of go in on that fight. Ooh, JD just misses a pop-up there, trying to put the damage on the Joybot, but he's already got so many items. His only task here is to keep last minute at bay while his team is getting these objectives.
Yeah, honestly, Joybot, his presence this game is so strong on the Chow. Just seeing that Chow come in, he's able to just kick the enemy roamer, and his whole team comes and follows up with enough damage to be able to kill the roamer. So I don't think Kevy's having a good time this game, but
Joybot, he gets away with a hair of a health. And as you were talking, Shiro finds his 5th kill of this game. Look at Divine right now, putting the boots to Blade there. Comes down with a demonic force. That's going to force Blade to have... Oh, he tries to get away. Cutthroat goes on. It's not going to be able to get the kill. Shiro, taking another tower shot, is able to get out of harm's way. That almost ended badly there for Godspeed.
Right. Honestly, I thought Shiro was gonna die under that tower, but he was able to cable out and get himself to safety as Divine does get that kill on Yuzong. Great start to the game. Whooping 11-0 on the KDA score at just 8 minutes. Honestly, Godspeed is decimating this game compared to the last two. They're feeling it after the first two wins. They're feeling the third game, and they're just coming in strong.
Yeah, synergy is definitely on the side of Godspeed here. Joybaj doing a great job. Oh, we're going to have another isolation here. Blade sees it. I want to say a little bit of a misplay from Joybaj there. Went ahead with the Jeet Kune Do, just missed Blade and wasn't able to get that Way of the Dragon onto him. Blade saw it and dove into his tower for safety.
Yeah, well, this game is so one-sided right now. Godspeed is pushing in on their first Tier 3 towers and trying to get Tier 2 soon. But we do see a Lord is coming up in about like 10 seconds or so. So we'll see if the side of Last Minute does try and contest or they give it up again for Godspeed to get an uncontested Lord.
Yeah, we can take a look at some of the items here. You can already see a 2K above right now for Godspeed on their jungler. Big Divine Judgment comes in, drags him into the tower. Joybosh finally gets shut down. Syri finds a kill as he dives into the back lane with that blazing duet of his own. They're able to answer it 1-1 apiece, but just Last Minute are on the board.
Yeah, honestly, Joybaj, he may have had a little hiccup where I think he tried finessing them or tried kicking them, but he was the one that actually got caught by their Kaja this time instead of the Kaja getting caught by Joybaj. So I think great pickoff so far.
Yeah, and this is kind of what you want to see from Last Minute. This is what you're going to need to see if they want to stay in the... You're going to need Kaja. You're going to need Kevy to really kind of isolate. Wait for that Cho to get in there. Oh, speaking of which, Divine jiving in with that demonic force, and it's going to go ahead and push out Last Minute here. Joybaj, speaking of which, comes in. He does get some CC for his efforts. Flickers in, has the Way of the Dragon out there, and look at the burst going down onto Mahiro.
Yeah, like you said earlier, I think that for Last Minute, what their win condition really is that they need the Kaja to be able to pull any member of the side of Godspeed to really pick off, and from there they will be able to come back in the game. But currently so far we're not seeing that as much as the scoreboard is 14-1, so they have only had one pick off so far with that one kill, but we'll see as they defend the Lord.
Yeah, and right now you can see, I mean, a great job. Last Minute is forced to turtle right now under these high grounds. Ooh, Syri comes in there. He's going to use that BMI to get himself out of harm's way, but there's very little that Last Minute can do here. Even when it comes to their jungle, it's being cleared out. You can see the recall stance there coming out from Godspeed.
Yeah, this game is very interesting to watch. We do see Last Minute, they are stacking together. I like the idea that they're gonna walk together as a team rather than by themselves, which allows them to be there and ready when a team fight happens instead of having one player too far up like the Kaja and getting picked off by that Chow.
Yeah, and that's kind of what they need to do. You're going to travel together as a group right now. Let Kevy look for an opportunity to perhaps get that Divine Judgment. We do have a conceal play here. Divine kind of looking on the opposite side of the bush. Joybaj goes in, does find a Way of the Dragon. Is it going to be enough? It is on the Ruby. We do have the demonic force slamming down onto the opponents, and he's going to find 2 kills for him. Restarts, finds 1 as well. That is 4 players down for Last Minute with minions charging up at the top. This might be the end. Demonic force coming out. It is just JD alone to defend against 4 members of Godspeed. And look at how quickly they're bursting down the core.
Wow, that game went by. That was really fast. Just one team fight from the side of Godspeed to Last Minute, and they're able to win that and close the game off with the scoreboard of 18-1. Really strong start. Really strong third game at, I think, just in 12 minutes. What do you think?
I mean, unfortunately for last minute right now, it feels like every loss that they have taken, and this is kind of the mark of like those great teams at the top of esports, is when you're down and out, you still have a plan, you still know what you need to do, and you can execute that plan. Unfortunately, when you're not used to being down and out, you can appear here like last minute. They kind of seem to be kind of, I want to say it's demotivating to take these types of losses, and you can see it kind of affecting their gameplay as these matches kind of go on. 18-1 right now. That was a very dominating start. That might have been the fastest game of this series. I know the first one was around 12 minutes as well. This one 12-26, 18-1. A textbook usage of this composition from the side of Godspeed.
Yeah, I like to agree with you. The fact that I think the first game, I think that last minute they did do a little much better. They did much better as compared to this game. I think their morale is down from the first two losses coming in, but I think Godspeed is showing that they're, I think, the top dog right now of the newer teams that are just made currently, and that they should be on the look. They should be watched. They should be on the lookout for how we should be looking out for how they play. So I think great gameplay this game coming from Joybaj with his Chow, insane Chow kicks going on to the Kaja, and his team able to back him up like the Fanny, just swooping in and just cabling and just killing whoever Chow kicks.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically they've been putting on a clinic here. Joybaj really shined in this last match, especially on this show, to kind of get into enemy territory, find and isolate the players that he wanted to. And at certain points, it didn't even matter who it was, whether it was Sky, who's actually very squishy, but then even landing them on Kevy, who was on the Kaja, who was a pretty tanky, still able to find us. Like, here's another one where we saw he lands it onto Sky. Shiro able to jump in there to get the cutthroat and find the kill there. It was just a very dominating game here by Godspeed.
Yeah, I wouldn't agree with you more. As we can see through the replays, a lot of points in the game is where that I think that last minute had dived in and tried to fight Godspeed, but they did not come out on top, where a lot of players like Shiro just comes in and just goes and kills them, as a lot of the players in last minute are just living with 1 HP.
You see there, this is we're talking about the synergy there, able to dive under towers to find the Yuzong there, and Shiro almost died there, but I mean, the faith in his teammates and their teamwork here just kind of showing through under towers. And I want to say that's usually the great potential, the greatest time that you could see where teamwork comes into play, is when your team is diving under enemy towers and your entire team is able to kind of juggle that, to juggle the aggro and the damage from the tower, and still be able to get the kill and still be able to get out.
Yeah, I would agree with you more. That game went by really fast, and without needing a Lord to push in like the first two games, all they needed to do was win that team fight, and just push it on their inhib and base and just close it out with another victory.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays on as well. Only one more game for both of these teams. This very ironically is going to be the last minute for last minute to kind of come back here and find a plan. I mean, regroup. Losses happen to every team, and they're not gonna be the only ones to be taking losses tonight. They're not gonna be the only ones taking losses this weekend. So it's gonna need to find, I want to say that the chutzpah to kind of get back up and face Godspeed here.
Yeah, honestly, last game for last minute, and their last chance to be able to prove themselves that they deserve to be one of the teams on the top 8 slots of NACT. And I'm really hoping to see better play coming from them, as they just had they did just have 3 losses, but honestly, they still have a comeback chance, getting just 1 point out of the 3 that they just lost.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. I want to say I do not envy where last minute is at. Some players, I mean, there's 8 teams. One team's going to have to be at the bottom, and it's a learning experience for all of these teams. And I want to say like not all of these teams have faced, I want to say, the type of challenges that you do here up at the top 8. But this is the only place to really kind of sharpen your blade, to take those losses on the chin and start learning from them. And right now, I want to say we're seeing from the side of Godspeed, not just from last minute, but from Godspeed, they're throwing out, I want to say, a varied amount of different compositions, different heroes, and different win conditions that they're able to succeed at. And that's something I'm actually very happy to see.
Yeah, honestly, Godspeed coming in as one of the newer teams. I do like how they're playing so far. They're playing really together, really synergized, and they're playing like they've been a team for like, so long, as long as like BTK or like GG. So yeah, I'm really excited to see what they have to come.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen everything, especially Joybaj. I want to say, like, the last few games, we've seen Joybaj like getting vision for his team, making sure that he's got eyes on the enemy everywhere he goes from the last few ones. This last game was really kind of, I want to say, an homage to him, to allow him onto the show, to really kind of flex out and show what he can do, the mechanicalness that he's able to issue out with that show pick. It was just kind of a beauty to behold, and I'm wondering the only thing I want to see from last minute maybe right now is, especially when it comes to this draft, let's see a draft that really kind of favors off of each other. Depending on what kind of composition you're going for, let's have all the teams kind of feed into that to try to help it out. If it's gonna be AoE damage, let's get a lot of that with the CC out there as well. We need to kind of diversify what we're seeing, and dare I say, I want to say, I mean, Kevy is going to need to kind of stick with the team. He needs to be more careful about where he is going. At this level, roams cannot just face check any bushes. They can't just assume that they're going to be able to tank all the damage that the enemy is going to be able to output, especially for a team as organized as Godspeed, because you're not just looking at damage, you're looking at them being able to CC you down, put some damage on, more CC, especially if your team is not in a position to be able to kind of help you out.
Yeah, honestly, in the last 3 games, I did see that a lot of the players' positioning, they were far out, like Kevy on the roam. He was positioned a little far too out from the rest of his team, and he did get caught a few times by the Chow on last game, and his team was not near him. So I think that for the side of last minute, there should be a little bit more team synergy or more comms in the VC to show that, oh, the roamer is here. Okay, let's have the team go around the area where the roamer is, or that the roamer should back off to where his team is to be able to stay safe and not get picked off and give Godspeed an extra kill.
Yeah, and that's kind of the big thing there. And if you're not able to correctly communicate that with your team, you just need to be wary of it on the mini map. When you're in this bush, you see the enemy team coming. What am I going to accomplish here if I do kind of go out there, maybe get some CC on there? Is anybody here going to be able to help on my side? If the answer is going to be no, then maybe we just need to back off, reset with our team. Especially here with what we've been seeing, how well that Godspeed has been able to take advantage of those situations when they know that the roam is away from the jungler. They're going to start invading. If the roam gets picked off, they immediately go for the objective. It's really been clockwork. It's not. I want to say I don't want to kind of lay too much on to last minute, because Godspeed has played a very smart and strategic game here as we're going into the 4th. This is going to be the final match, because there is no chance of a tiebreaker here, as it is a 3-0 right now. Starting off, Fanny ban on the side of last minute, and then Chip taken out for Godspeed.
I think these are pretty textbook bans for the first few games we have seen. We have seen Godspeed banning out Chip, I think makes it basically all the games, and last minute they have been banning out Fanny, I guess for Shiro, because Shiro did come out with a Fanny just last game and decimate last minute with his insane Fanny skills. So I see that ban coming in. But let's see what else is getting banned so far. A Hylos ban, I think really interesting. I think Godspeed pulled out the Hylos on the second game. Hylos, even though he had gotten nerfed, he is still very viable, as he's very sustainable, and he's able to just charge in team fights with his skill kits.
Yeah, that's a smart takeoff there. I want to say at the beginning here, I want to say both of these teams kind of lent themselves to what the patch notes said, and kind of well, actually, no, I want to say Hylos was banned out first, and then they let it out the second game, and then they're like, yeah, we're not going to do that again. We're going to make that same mistake. And I want to say this really isn't so much on a lot of the picks that we've been seeing. We've kind of seen the same, I want to say, bans coming out from both of these teams. What's changed has been, I want to say, the compositions that we've seen from them. And from the side of Godspeed, they've just shown how deep their hero pool is and how well they can kind of use those compositions to find victory. Last Minute, still looking for their first victory here, has had a little bit of a problem. And it might come down to some of those core mechanics when it comes to your rotations or where you should be, how you should be mindful of certain things on the map before being caught. But like I said, it's the last game for the fourth game of this series. We're going to see if we have any surprises that we're going to be pulling out.
I have been liking Last Minute's team comps. I think it's just how they play it and execute their heroes that they play, as like Godspeed has had really interesting team comps, like a Bane jungle, and they do pick like a lot of the EXPs that get nerfed, but they do play those champions really well throughout the game. Just really shows how well diverse they are, or how well versed they are with the champions that they play.
Well, yeah, that's a great point, is that Divine has been really kind of showing through with that XP lane. It doesn't matter if they've gotten nerfed recently. He's just going to pick them up to see how valid and how useful they are here in this best of 4. And he's been very successful with them so far. And even pulled out the Phoveus in the last game, though I don't want to say, I don't think Phoveus actually got any real nerfs in the last bit. He's still a menace, and he's still just as strong as he has ever been. And I'm wondering, I mean, we're kind of leaving it out there again. We're going to pick up the Matilda, and I have to wonder, is this pickup of Matilda, like, is this planned, or did we realize it at the last minute and are like, oh no, we can't give this to them because now we're giving up the Phoveus?
Yeah, I think that they did pick up the Matilda because Joybaj would probably just lock that hero up if he saw the chance to. But I think a great first pick for them, if they know how to play it well and roam around like Joybaj does on Matilda, would be a great pick. But they do give that Phoveus to the side of Godspeed. And as we have seen Godspeed or Divine playing Phoveus, he does a really good job at that hero. And that hero is really tanky, as well as being a great hero for setting and just going in and sustaining and doing damage. But we do see Shiro did pick up a Julian. First time picking up Julian on the side of Godspeed. I think a great assassin pick, as I said earlier. He does not need level 4. He's great at clearing his jungle, and he has so many skill combos, which allows him to do a lot of fun, unique things on his skill kit.
Yeah, interestingly enough, I mean, we were talking about them still using heroes that had recent adjustments to them. Julian did get hit with the nerfs. They've kind of brought down some of his burst potential for a lot of his skills, so that I believe it's his scythe actually has some reduced damage as well. But I mean, Julian's still a force to be reckoned with. How fast his clear is, how much damage he can output, especially when they're ahead. And we have 2 heroes on the side of Godspeed that really have that great game opening sense to them when it comes to this first objective. Ooh.
Yeah. So on the last minute side, we do see a Bane pick and a Faramis pick. I think Godspeed on a lot of the games, they had banned out the Faramis, so, or it was inside last minute, so just possibly showing that they have a really good Faramis player. But they did also pick out a Bane, which is a really interesting jungler. I'm not sure, like, is he meta right now or what? We saw Shiro playing it earlier, but on this side we'll see JDZ play the Bane and see how well he does against the Julian.
Yeah, this is a very interesting pickup with the Faramis. I'm expecting either a ban or a pickup of the Claude on last minute, but I don't think they have the first pick. So I'm expecting them to go ahead, ban out the Claude here so it doesn't rain terror onto Faramis when he tries that Nether Realm. Oh, actually, the Godspeed are way ahead of me. They pick up the Claude now before they go into the second banning phase. So they read that quick. And here we are. I mean, great sense here from Godspeed.
Yeah, so I am really liking the draft right now. A lot of picks that we've seen earlier on the side of Godspeed, we do see the Claude pick. I think he's a really strong marksman on the gold lane. He is able to just, run around, just farm, but he does need the Trinity build. But honestly, once he gets that build, he is able to do a lot of damage on that side. But on the bans list, we can see that Godspeed does ban out the Harith for the side of last minute. So possibly a great hero counter against the Claude, as they don't want to see a hero on that Harith.
Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. I want to see how well they. There's a lot of sustain on the side of last minute right now. You've got the Nether Realm. You've got the. I want to say the. Guiding winds that come out from Matilda as well. It could give you a lot of shield. We are taking away the Valentina from the side of last on the side of last minutes. No focus. I mean, the focus is coming from Godspeed, who are really trying to focus and hone in on to that marksman lane. They've already picked up their own, and I'm wondering what the answer possibly would be here for last minute. Moskov's still out there on the table as well.
Yeah, honestly, as you mentioned, Moskov, actually, he might just get banned on the side of Godspeed, as they did just ban a Herald, so they may just go up with another marksman ban targeting Mahiro on gold lane for last minute. But we do see that Val ban, which is I think a great ban against the Faramis, as Valentina can just whip up that Faramisol and just use it for her own team to give them another chance. But like you said, Moskov actually did just get banned on the side of Godspeed, so I think great ban right there.
Yeah, so now, I mean, what do we have left? We still got the carry out there potentially. Last minute went with the Ruby pickup. I'm not sure how much you would be looking at that for here. Faramis has, I want to say we might be lacking a little bit on the side of CC for last minute right now, and our early game is a little left behind here as well. So a little different focuses for both teams here. Mage focus for the side of last minute, marksman focus for the side of Godspeed, but we are all out of bans here as we see Godspeed going ahead, quickly picking up that Grok.
Yeah, Grok, I think the first pick we have seen in this NACT series, the first roam pick, I think it's a great hero, and Joybotch as well on that Grok. I think we have seen Joybotch play Grok on BTK. I think Grok as a roamer isn't really used as much this season, but something that I'm really looking forward to seeing. But on the side of last minute, we do see the Terizla pick being picked up and carry. Terizla, like we said earlier, did get a nerf, but it just all depends on how well the player plays it, as well as using the kit properly, and also Terizla's ult and CC training the team.
Yeah, it's I grimaced a little bit when I saw the carry pickup, just because as a marksman, carry has, I want to say, a little bit of the smallest range of a lot of marksmen, so she's going to need to get kind of nitty gritty in there to kind of put off a lot of that damage. You've got a lot of heroes that can close the distance very quickly when somebody like a marksman kind of shows their face in there. Julian can come in there, put a lot of burst damage. Phobius doesn't even care about front lines because he could just use that demonic force to kind of dive into the back line there as well. Claude can dive into the back with that battle mirror image as well. So we're going to have a heck of a time trying to protect carry, but I mean, that's what you have the guiding winds for, coming from Kevy, and you're going to have the Nether Realm. It's just how well can last minute execute this composition, because it's not a bad composition. It's just you have to know the pluses of it to be able to benefit from it.
Yeah, as you say that, we do see a Xavier getting picked up, another mage or hero that is getting picked up the first time in the series. I don't see Xavier playing a lot actually in professional league or tournaments, but that hero is, I think it's pretty fun, as I'm also a mage player and I really like playing Xavier, but he does have really good range, but he really does not have a lot of mobility. So once he gets caught, he doesn't really have much place to run to besides a flicker or having a sprint ready.
Yeah, so we'll see how well, ladies and gentlemen, we are going into the fourth and final game between Godspeed and Last Minute. Last Minute have had a little bit of a struggle in the first 3 games, looking to sign it off in the fourth game with a victory. Can they do it?
Yeah, so on the side of Last Minute, we do see that Bane is starting up his red buff, and on the side of Godspeed, they did start their blue, and Julian is actually ahead on the jungle rotations right now, as we can see is on his red. But right now we do see Joybotch again. He is going to bully the enemy junglers. Actually, not Joybotch, sorry. Kevy bullying the enemy jungle on Matilda.
Well, and this actually is not a bad pick for Kevy. As we were talking about before, he sometimes finds himself in precarious positions where his team cannot help him out. Matilda has a decent kit for stuff like that, where if he does get caught, he will be able to kind of dash himself with the guiding winds to get away. JD in a little bit of trouble here, might be caught by 3 members, popped up, and Shiro finds the kill.
That is such a sad kill at the start for the side of last minute. Their jungle did just go down, and I think jungle is a really important part of the early game, as they do have to go around clearing jungles and getting their levels up before the turtle. And because of that one death at 1 minute, he's kind of a little bit behind on his jungle. He's also getting invaded right now, which is also a really big problem. I would be annoyed if I was a jungler that my team is really here to help me and like also really behind. I'm not sure we can really contest the next turtle.
Yeah, and that's the thing. But on the plus side, Godspeed didn't contest the first turtle. They just allowed their Bane to continue to farm. And even when they had 2 turtles down for the side of last minute, Godspeed's, when they were on the Bane, they were still ahead of the jungle. So, I mean, it's not completely the end of the world. Or we're looking for an opportunity here. Blade against 2 members is not just kind of fighting off the offense that they're putting here from that top lane.
Yeah, I think Joybot again, he's invading the enemy jungle as Shiro is on the turtle, so Joybot is stopping their jungler from actually going to contest, so I'm very sure that this turtle will go towards the side of Godspeed. Look at Joybot on the bot side.
They attempted to get it, but I mean, you're kind of competing against a retribution. That should have been a call from the team. Like, am I going to be able to get that? If JD's not in the vicinity to help you out, there's no way you're going to be able to contest that against Shiro, who has his retribution up. So it was kind of a little bit of a wasted effect there for both of them. Not completely like overblown just yet. A 1K gold lead for the side of Godspeed. Joybosh comes in with the wall. We do see the deadly catch come out there. 2 members of last minute looking to try to get a kill here if they can on the Joybaj, who is the tankiness of Grok able to show through. But now it might be all over, as now these members looking to make an escape. They do get caught. Sky takes a death.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I like Joybot. This kid is also pulling in a lot of weight. Like on the Chow, he is really aggressive on that Grok. He comes into the enemy jungle for Bane and just pokes him, tries to hit him on his red buff, on his blue buff. He has no fear on that Grok, which is something that the enemy jungler should probably be scared of. But as I said, I think the jungler should have his team near him as he's getting invaded, so he should be walking around with, or actually his team should be going to help him a lot more than just roaming around the map.
Ooh, as we talk about that, Kevy gets nailed out. Mahiro might be next on the list. Onto the back line. Joybosh put some damage on. We do have the deadly catch out there. Netherrealm out as well. Blazing Duet makes short work of the Netherrealm there. We have 3 down for the side of last minute.
Yeah, as we can see, this game, much like the second game and the third game, they are in the presence of JD's jungle. And as I remembered, when JD was on Julian, he was getting the same treatment. He was dying in his jungle a lot. And I think that due to the jungle presence that Godspeed has currently, allows for Shiro to just freely go around in his own jungle and clear, as well as get the 3 turtles that are uncontested.
Yeah, you see right here, I mean, you're going to have a lot of problems before you get your items on Bane, especially when it comes to ganks, when it comes to other opponents. He does great against towers in the early game, but when it comes to kind of like trying to protect himself, you need your team there. You need that roam there to be able to kind of help. And, oh, as I say that, Blade in trouble gets caught by that ultimate coming out from Xavier. Divine puts the finishing touches on with the demonic force.
Yeah, this game is just going so well for Godspeed. They're in the lead currently with 17k gold. So they're basically around like 5k gold or 6k gold ahead of last minute. They are going for the objectives. So currently they do have 2 turtles and are ahead by 2 towers right now. About to get their 3rd tower on the mid side for tier 3. I think really good start for them at 5 minutes.
Yeah, only tier 2 towers left for the side of last minute. Shiro's going to go ahead and use those enhanced chains to get himself out of harm's way. Last minute doing the best they can, trying to rotate around here to stop this offense coming out. But I mean, you're already starting to look at about an 8k gold lead for the side of Godspeed. There's really very little you can do, and now they're already starting to put the strangle onto them. Ooh, Circling Eagle is out there, does go in. We do have a little bit of of a problem there. Divine gets taken out maybe a little too deep into enemy territory for the favor of Godspeed, and now trying to put the pressure onto this mid one. We do have a penalty zone that lands on the two members. Joybosh in trouble. Uses that flicker, gets away.
Yeah, that was a great ult coming from the Terizla, but his team not being able to come in time to deal enough damage to the side of Godspeed.